And we are following that breaking news right off the top now at 6 with this video just in minutes after the House, in a historic move, voted to remove Congressman Kevin McCarthy from his position as Speaker of the House.
You see him walking right there. He did not respond to any questions during his return to his office. Good evening, everyone. I'm Elliot Rodriguez.
And I'm Lauren Pastrana. The vote was 216 to 210.
In all, 8 Republicans joined Democrats in voting to remove Congressman McCarthy as Speaker. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz filed the motion to remove McCarthy after it turned to Democrats to help pass a short-term spending bill to keep the government open. Here's what McCarthy said shortly before the vote.
If you throw a speaker out that has 99% of their conference, that kept government open and paid the troops, I think we're in a really bad place.
Now, as we said, McCarthy's removal is historic, the first Speaker of the House in the U.S. history to be removed by a motion to vacate. So let's check in right now with CBS News Miami's Skylar Henry, who is live on Capitol Hill.
Skylar, the vote now throws the House and its Republican leadership really into chaos at this point. So talk a little bit about its significance.
Hey, Lauren. Hey, Elliot. Good to be with the both of you. Well, we know that House Republicans will be meeting in about 30 minutes or so as a conference behind closed doors, ultimately to see what happens next with all of this. The ironic bit of all of this was a note that Elliot pointed out just a few seconds ago. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz critiqued, criticized, ultimately scrutinized what former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy did in terms of working with Democrats to try to get the measure passed that we saw over the weekend to keep the government up and running. Well, the Florida Congressman, Matt Gaetz, needed Democratic support in order to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy as well. So, bit of irony there, but ultimately we will see what happens next. Remember, we don't necessarily know if anyone else will jump to the job as well. It is possible that we could see Congressman McCarthy jump back into the race as well. He still has the possibility of saying that he wants to remain Speaker. There's nothing preventing him from doing that right now. Aside from that, we know that Patrick McHenry, the congressman from North Carolina, is now the Speaker pro tem. He is now in charge until we see someone else out there that could gain the votes and gain the support to try to become the next Speaker. But what's important to note here is that no other business can get done until that happens. That means trying to find common ground on those appropriations bills to find long-term solutions to keep the government up and running. That won't happen until a Speaker is named. And there's only some 40-some-odd days or so before we could be staring down the barrel again of another government shutdown. So Congress is looking to try to work as quickly as possible to try to see if there are some solutions in place. But uncharted waters, unprecedented, all of those words could certainly be used to describe what we're seeing here on Capitol Hill.
That's right. We are all left guessing, Skylar, what will happen next. Skylar Henry reporting from Capitol Hill for us. Thank you.
And let's bring this home now to Florida and how all this might impact Congressman Gaetz here in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, he was at the center of this. The fallout is building. Let's get some analysis right now from CBS News Miami's Jim DeFede. Jim, what do you make of this?
Elliot, this was the most predictable, shocking story you could have imagined. 9 months ago, when Kevin McCarthy survived 15 rounds of votes to finally become Speaker, he basically set up his own demise. In some ways, it's surprising he lasted 9 months, because the deal that he made with conservatives, and particularly with Matt Gaetz, gave Gaetz the power to do what he just did today. And so, of course, it is a Florida man, in terms of Matt Gaetz, who used that authority, used that power to take Kevin McCarthy out. And the question a lot of people wonder is why, and of course there's a lot of speculation that Matt Gaetz wants to run for governor in 2026. He's already fundraising, and there's a lot of attention around that. Now, Matt Gaetz is also extremely unpopular among some Republicans, particularly one here in South Florida, Carlos Jimenez. Carlos Jimenez went on Fox News just a couple of days ago and just blasted Matt Gaetz. It's part of a chorus that we've been hearing of attacking Matt Gaetz, and I think we've got that sound. Let's listen to it.
I have serious disagreements with Mr. Gaetz. I think that he's actually probably, he is Joe Biden's favorite Republican. Exactly who the heck are you working for? Are you really a Republican, or are you a Democrat in disguise? I have serious concerns about Matt Gaetz.
Now, I've been going back and forth with Matt Gaetz over the course of the day in between the House votes, and I asked him for a comment about what Carl Jimenez says, and he gave me this statement: "I'm fighting for single subject spending bills and to cut spending by returning to pre-COVID spending levels. That's my agenda. Folks can call me any names they'd like." And I'm telling you tonight, they're calling him a lot of names. But the one thing that I can tell you is that they are also acknowledging that it was him, that he is the one who put this together. Now, let me throw one other thing. Missing from all this is the other Florida man in the equation, which is Donald Trump. It seems as if Donald Trump may have played a key role in helping Kevin McCarthy get that deal 9 months ago to come into power. He has not expressed any real issue with the way this went down today. In fact, he posted on Truth Social a couple hours ago that he wishes Republicans would stop fighting amongst themselves, even though the case could be made that this is exactly what the Trump presidency and the Trump era of Republican politics has wrought, is a standstill now in Congress.
And Jim, really quickly, Schuyler mentioned that House business cannot proceed until they do elect a new Speaker of the House. So how long will we be dealing with sort of a stalemate or a standstill here? And what names stand out to you as possible people who would be considered?
Well, the first question is going to be, when they meet behind closed doors in about 25 minutes, is whether or not Kevin McCarthy wants to put his own name forward, whether or not he wants to try to reclaim the speakership. If it's not him, then I think you will see a shift, a move forward. Does Kevin McCarthy want to stomach another fight? It may be that even some of his supporters will tell him it's time to move on, that there are other names. You know, you've heard Tom Cole's name. You've heard, you know, the number 3 in the House, the whip. You've also heard, you know, Steve Scalise's name. So we'll see. We may get a much better idea of that later tonight. I don't think there's going to be a vote tonight, probably tomorrow.
Well, it took 15 votes last time. We'll all be standing by to see what happens. We need a functioning government in this country, so this is important stuff. Jim, thank you very much.